Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sandy Frank's political podcast for a people's movement against the corporate fascist state. I am your host, Sandy Frank. Welcome. Before we get into what this episode is going to be about, I'm getting some news about some Snowden. I'm looking at the Russian government will be giving him to the U.S. is some of the reports I'm looking at right now. I don't really have the full story of exactly what's going on, but my next episode will definitely be entirely about Snowden and WikiLeaks, and just kind of giving the history of it and talking about. I don't want to talk about what's happening with Edward Snowden because I don't really know what's going on right now. I just saw a few reports saying that, but we'll see what happens with that. I'm not sure if that's good or bad news. I don't even know what Trump's intentions are, and I'm frankly frightened by whatever Trump is doing. But so today's episode is going to be about we're going to talk about revolution. We're going to talk about what an actual revolution means, and how people like Bernie Sanders and Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks and the corporate fascist media misuse the term intentionally to sheepdog people back into the Democratic Party. So, of course, Bernie Sanders during his campaign was calling for, very famously, calling for a political revolution, which is exactly what we need. But I doubt that Bernie Sanders is. I know he knows what it means. I know Bernie Sanders is smart enough to know what an actual revolution means. This is someone who grew up and lived through and was politically active during the Cuban Revolution, a real revolution, a real people's revolution against the corporate state and the imperialist state, the Batista state that Castro and Guevara overthrew. So we know that Bernie Sanders knows what actual revolutions are, because there have been so many of them during Bernie Sanders' lifetime. But yeah, the Sanders campaign and the Bernie-crats and the Bernie Sanders junkies, as they seem to be, they're misusing that term revolution. And just to quickly talk about these Bernie Sanders supporters and these Elizabeth Warren supporters who will, they've now found their golden cows who allow them to continue to worship the establishment and to feel safe. These Bernie Sanders and these Elizabeth Warrens, and these Bernie Sanders has become very dangerous over, since he endorsed Hillary Clinton. We're talking about a group of people, let's call them the Bernie-crats, who claim that they're for a political revolution, but are just as much of the partisan hacks, Democratic partisan hacks, as the worst of them, as the Rachel Maddows and the Sean Hannitys. This is why it's a people's revolution and not a leftist revolution or whatever, a Bernie-crat revolution, because you just look at how unreliable these fucking Bernie-crats are. These Cenk Uygurs, willing and desiring to sheepdog all of these people that Bernie Sanders, that the Bernie Sanders worshipers who came into the Bernie Sanders campaign with a lot of good ideas. I mean, I'm not gonna call these people completely non-progressive. They are, to some certain extents, but when you're a person calling for the end of police brutality and the end of the breaking up of the banks, yeah, you can make all those claims all day long about how much you support these things, but when you're just being sheepdogged into the corporate media narrative of Reds versus blues, it's just all talk. And that's exactly what Bernie Sanders and Cenk Uygur and all of these new progressives who want to take back the Democratic Party, let's take it back. It's all talk. And people like Bernie Sanders know it, and people like Cenk Uygur know it, but the millions of other people that they have at their beck and call, they're being brainwashed into thinking that they're actually accomplishing something with going along with this Democratic bullshit narrative of opposing Trump. Oh, it's Trump. Oh, it's Trump and the Republicans and no one else. And for most of them, good God, it's only Trump. For not really the Bernie-crats, but the hardcore Democrats, the Rachel Maddow lovers, the John Oliver lovers, the Joy Reid lovers. For them, it's just Donald Trump. All of these white feminists and these corporate progressives, they're, if Trump gets impeached and Mike Pence takes the office, these people will vanish into the woodwork. These so-called politically active people. These people have been, the Rachel Maddow people have been brainwashed into loving the establishment Republicans, especially during the 2016 presidential campaign. We have, because this was their narrative when Trump was gaining all of his power. It's that, the establishment Republicans are the good guys, and Paul Ryan and John McCain, these are good guys, and Mike Pence, these are good guys, and Donald Trump is the only dangerous one. When, the only reason that this narrative against Donald Trump existed, and don't get me wrong, I hate Donald Trump, and he's a liar when he talks about these issues, but the reason that Rachel Maddow and the corporate left and the corporate right were opposing Trump so much is because of Donald Trump's big talk on trade. Donald Trump's big talk on the trade deals and the economy. Donald Trump was not wrong. He was just a liar. He was just a complete liar. When he went after NAFTA and the TPP and the Clintonian economic fascist era, the Obama fascist era of globalization and the elite left and the elite right, just taking up all the power in the world. When Donald Trump was opposing these things, he wasn't wrong. He was, he knew how to win votes. He knew how to tap into that anger, coming out of the right movements, and he won. He won on that, on these. But now, he stopped the TPP. His Trump's plans for what he's actually proposing, he has no plans. Bernie Sanders had a plan, of course, which is to model the United States after the progressive countries of Europe, and to start new trade deals, not based on nationalism or this bullshit that Trump's going around, but economic prosperity for the entire globe. But anyway, I digress. So we're talking about the misuse of revolution, and the misuse of so much else by the Bernie Sanders people and the Democratic Party people, the resistance. Ooh, it's a resistance. Keith Olbermann and the Patriots. Yeah, they're this is the resistance. Yeah, this is the revolution right here. Yeah, the Patriots players not going to see Trump, and the anti-Trump people who are doing nothing but trying to get Trump impeached so they can let the fake left people who want to go back to sleep, they want to let these people go back to sleep. you get Trump impeached, that's a surefire way to do it. To put all the left, the Barack Obama lovers and the Hillary Clinton lovers, this is how you put these people to sleep, which is what the corporate media, the anti-Trump corporate media, is trying to accomplish. They don't want all these politically active people because they know they can't control them for much longer. They know for as long as these people are going to be activated, the longer these people on the left who have been brainwashed, the longer they are active, and the longer they are, getting political opinions from different people who are outside of the corporate media, they know that the chances go down, or the chances become very likely of these brainwashed people becoming unbrainwashed and realize, oh, Keith Olbermann and Rachel Maddow and John Oliver have been lying to me and have been sheepdogging me to a minority party that doesn't represent the views that they claim to represent. The Democratic Party does not represent workers, and it does not represent the poor, and it does not represent economic rights, and it does not represent women, and it does not represent racial non-white people in the U.S., and it does not support gay rights. It only supports the corporations. And the Democratic lefts, the Democratic parties, and the corporate Democrats, their idea of gay rights and the progress of gay rights is fucking Gap commercials with fucking two fathers. And this is what they say, the Coca-Cola commercials with about immigrants. And this is what they call progress. Complete nonsense. Complete wool being pulled over people's fucking eyeballs, and pawning it off as civil rights progress when it's not. It's bullshit. It is nothing but tricking people. So, the corporate left is trying as hard as they can to get Trump out, because as long as Trump is there, these brainwashed people, there's still going to be something wrong with their little brainwashed narrative when Donald Trump is still the president and not smiley-faced Barack Obama or not nice hair Mike Pence. And believe me, if they're able to impeach Trump or do whatever to Trump, and Mike Pence becomes the president, believe me, we'll get another Barack Obama. We will. They'll go right back to the putting people to sleep, and they'll put Kirsten Gillibrand up there. We need to start the Never Gillibrand hashtag campaigns now, and the Never Warrens and the Never Sanders hashtag campaigns now, or in 2020, it'll be Mike Pence or whoever the Republicans put in versus an economic fascist. Liz Warren, the worst of them. Liz Warren is a walking, talking Gap commercial with two dads. That's what Elizabeth Warren is. It is a complete psyop. It is a complete fake progress. It's a complete mindfuck. That's all Elizabeth Warren is. She's a Coca-Cola advertisement about immigrants, which is to say she's nothing. She's political mist. There's no progress there. There's nothing. Elizabeth Warren is the opposite of a revolutionary. She is a corporate fascist, which is what Bernie Sanders is as well. So let's talk about revolution. Let's talk about our people's nonpartisan revolution. I'm not sure if you catched Debbie Lusignan's video last night. She's kind of talking about the same thing, about how, hacks like the Young Turks and the Justice Democrats, first of all, how ridiculous their plan is, as if Cenk Uygur and all his money doesn't know how ridiculous the fucking plan is of the Justice Democrats. Debbie was saying how illogical it is to even be thinking about taking back the Democratic Party right now when we are the majority. the independent thinkers, the independent people's movement against the corporate fascist state, yeah, we have a lot of differing ideas, but we, 46% of the independent movement, we're the majority. And Justice Democrats and Cenk Uygur want us to fight for the minority, the fight to be the minority of the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party and the Republican parties are both minorities. We need to fight to become a minority movement by putting, corporate money into media and media money into electing, more corporate fascists. What the fuck are the Young Turks even talking about? Do the Young Turks know anything? Are the Young Turks really that stupid? And the answer is no, because they know what they're doing, and they know they're controlled by corporate media, and they know that they're just an online extension of MSNBC fucking C. Good God. The night after night, for 2 hours, the Young Turks just put out garbage. And this isn't just the Young Turks. I'm talking about all of these shady online fake progressive media outlets like Ring of Fire and Sam Cedar and David Pakman, and I mean RT America has a lot of good stuff, but there's also a lot of seemingly democratic toadies in there. So I'm not just saying the Young Turks and Cenk Uygur, but their strategy, which they're so confident about, and night after night they're talking about, ooh, we're gonna get it, ooh, 2018. Wait, just you wait. You waste 2 more years of your life. Waste 2 more years of the little time you have in this world, worshiping the corporate state. Waste 2 more years for the corporate fascists to fucking carpetbag and take as much money as they can out of the failing system that the corporate fascists know is about to come crashing down around them when the fucking 99% of people who are pissed off fucking blow the shit up and, take them out of power. That's all that's happening with this Democratic establishment corporate media. That's all that's happening with Liz Warren. They're buying time for the corporate fascists. That's all they're doing. If the fake progressive birdie-crats bullshit media can sheepdog and gaslight for 2 years or 4 years, or however long they can, which is whether it's about however long they can, but if they can do this, then the corporate fascists can keep getting all of the resources and all of the power until the people eventually until it comes to a head. So, Justice Democrats is not a revolution, and it's bullshit. And what many are proposing, what we are proposing with the People's Movement, and again, I'm not associated with Debbie Lusignan or anyone else calling for this. Debbie Lusignan is not the only one, obviously, but our independent people's movement of all different ideas to get our democratic republic back, to install communism. But first the democratic republic. We need that before we can install communism. But what are the Justice Democrats' ideas of a revolution? Anything about civil disobedience? Anything about mass strikes and boycotts and walkouts and the shutting down of the imperialist industrial corporate fascist state? Anything like that? Anything in the realm of thought of Martin Luther King or Malcolm X or Coretta King that the corporate Democrat Liz Warrens love to paint themselves as when they're anything but? Anything about the actual teachings of Martin Luther King of Mahatma Gandhi? Anything? What about the massive boycotts? What about massive strikes? What about massive protests against the entire establishment? What about it? Where's the talk about it? Where's the organization from Justice Democrats to shut down the global corporate elitist state when we, the majority of people, are the ones who are holding it up by going to our jobs and continuing these bullshit corporate careers and bullshit economic slave labor bullshit jobs. Where's the organization for that? So that is what revolution is. Revolutions are not safe little garden parties with Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer. That's not what a revolution is. That's not what resistance is. Revolution must, by its very definition, put the ruling class on their toes. A revolution is, smacking everyone out of a sense of complacency. It is civil disobedience. It is civil non-cooperation. It's about, putting the fear of God into these elitists. And I'm not talking about non-violence. When I talk about civil non-cooperation, I'm not talking about non-violence, because as we've talked about in this program, we know what violence is, and Martin Luther King and Malcolm X knew what violence was from the lower class. And violence is, of course, an extension of the conditions that the corporate global elitists create, which is to say that violence is created by and is the fault of the corporate elitists. So, if there is a riot or a protest where there is violence, the violence is not the fault of the protesters, of course not. The violence is, of course, the fault of the people who made the conditions for the protests in the first place. That's who's to blame for the violence. So, we have the corporate elitists who know the score. The John Podestas and the Paul Ryans and the Clintons and the Obamas, they're not dumb. These people know the score. They know that people are about to stand up and take back their government by any fucking means possible. By violence. By, a militia insurrection. And that's an important part to go into right now. A better word for a revolution or a movement is an insurrection, where one class that has been subjugated overthrows another class. And that's what we're calling for as a people's movement. When we start on a journey of a revolution that we want to actually succeed, we need to be realistic about it. How do we succeed? How do we combat a corporate elitist state that has the biggest, most powerful military in the history of the world? What do you think? We're gonna overthrow the corporate elitist state that controls all of the military and all of the weapons? What do you think? We're gonna get a revolution from fucking singing Kumbaya? How do you think this is gonna happen? How do you think we're gonna achieve a revolution if we're gonna lie about what Martin Luther King said and say never violence? Oh, Martin Luther King said, if you ever even think about committing violence, you're an evil person and your argument is invalid. When in reality, Martin Luther King understood violence and the violence that would occur in a revolution when, the corporate elitists try to destroy the revolution, which is what they are going to try to do. To think that they will ever do otherwise, as in using violence against us, so the violence that comes from the revolting class is not the fault of the revolting class. Let's be completely clear about this. The fault of the violence is the people who created the conditions that required the people to revolt. Okay? So, when we talk about an actual people's revolution of the majority, which is what we are, overthrowing the minority, who are the corporate elite who control all of the weapons and all of the military, to think that this won't be done through violence created by the corporate elitists is ridiculous. It's nonsensical. So, a revolution, there are many different courses of, many different parts of our revolution. There is the armed insurrection part of our revolution. There are many other parts. We talk about revolution. As I said before, of course, our goal is not to go out and start, shooting cops, which will happen, of course, in a revolution of the magnitude that we're talking about, when our entire globe is controlled by the corporate elitists. But of course, our goal is not to kill cops and to kill politicians and to kill whoever the corporate establishment is going to throw at us, or to hurt them, or to cause violence towards them. Of course, this isn't our goal. Of course, it will happen when the conditions are like this. But, our goal is civil non-cooperation and civil disobedience, with the goal of actually accomplishing the overthrow of the corporate state. Another part of revolution is what I was just talking about, which is the shutting down of the corporate fascist state, because we control it. We're the ones who operate it and who continue to make it run. And we're frightened by the idea of losing our jobs and losing our homes and getting thrown out on the street and freezing to death in this freezing cold winter. And it's a good tactic they have in scaring the shit out of people and calling it capitalism, calling it rugged individualism. It's a clever rich person's trick, and it's very clever. You scare people into worship, and it's exactly how the worst type of cults and the worst type of organized Christian religions operate. You scare people. You tell them, "Oh, what are you gonna do? You're gonna try to stop me? Well, you're gonna die on the streets. You're gonna starve to death. You're gonna freeze to death in the night." And it's a good tactic. And it's a good illusion. But that's exactly what we need to start seeing the corporate fascist little ploy as, and it's an illusion. The corporate fascists are terrified of us, the independent people's majority revolutionary movement. They're petrified of us, and they know we know that they're petrified of us, and they know we know that their little illusion of upholding capitalism, they know that if we can get this information out there to people, that we control their little industry, their little corporate fascist industrial complex, and if we all, as a giant movement, or if even as just a portion of the independent movement was to shut down the state. They know the ramifications would wake the entire world up into showing people that these corporate fascists, United States Congress, has no power. They're just a room full of rich assholes, and we're coming for them. So our first goal as a revolutionary people's movement is this massive civil disobedience walkout, this boycott. First we boycott for a day. We get as many independently minded thinking people, and I'm talking globally. I'm talking a global movement. We get together, we pick a work day, we strike, we boycott, we protest, and not just boycotting, not just sitting at home, drinking tea, jerking off, but while we're boycotting, we protest, and we go out into the streets of all major cities in the world and all places everywhere in the world, and we go out into the streets and saying this is a total boycott of the corporate fascist system. And then we do it again and again and again. We keep doing it because they're just waiting for this moment, and they're trying their best with corporate media to prolong this moment when people finally say, oh wait, these corporate elitists actually have no power. We have the power, the majority. We have the ability, and we have the ideas, which is the next part of the revolution. We need a manifesto of what we want, but they know that if just the independently minded 46%, and this is just in the United States, if we organize and form this boycott, the corporate elitist state will be over in a day. It'll wake the entire world up to how little power these people have, and we'll be able. It will be a global awakening. So let's go into the next part of what revolution means. We see all these corporate protests, the women's protest, and and the Muslim ban protests, and all of the immigration protests, and I'm all for protesting. I'm for it, but when it's a corporate-backed protest that has no ideas on purpose, when it's just about identity bullshit politics that serve the democratic corporate establishment, when it's just about this, and there is no demands, and there are no grievances, and there are no ideas being perpetuated by the leadership of these protests, because it's all about the David Brock, George Soros identity politics bullshit that is meant to have no ideas, these protests fail. These protests lead to the Fox Newses and the Breitbarts saying these people have no ideas when we have all of the ideas, and that the Fox Newses say that we're just thugs who have no ideas. No, we have all of the ideas, which is our next point. Our new Declaration of Independence, our new manifesto of civil rights and economic rights. We need to form a people summit to come together to come up with a concrete organization and a concrete list of demands, list of grievances, our 95 theses, our Declaration of Independence, our Communist Manifesto. So what would be included in our People's Independent Manifesto? What what did the majority of the 46% of American independent political thinkers, what do these people want? And I'm even talking about the more conservative independent thinkers, because these people are smart and they see what's happening in the rest of the world, and they understand our healthcare demands are 100% single-payer Medicare for all, with the medical community being given to the experts and the professionals, and forming a democratic republic that can continue to advance the progress created by these single-payer Medicare systems in countries like Denmark and Germany and Portugal and the UK and Norway and Sweden. And believe me, these countries have problems. I'm not praising the every facet of the Swedish government. There's elitists in Sweden, and there's elitists in the United States. There's corporate fascists in Denmark too. Let's remember this. But we need a concrete list of demands. Occupy Wall Street, even though it was a corporate protest for some extent. I don't get me wrong, most of the people involved in Occupy Wall Street were sincere and genuine about opposing Obama's and the establishment's corporate fascism. They were, but it was a corporate protest that, and the point, why am I calling out Occupy Wall Street, is because they didn't have a concrete list of demands. And I don't want people to think of me as Aaron Sorkin right now with the bullshit against Occupy Wall Street on his little TV show, but a reason why the corporate media like Fox News and the rest were able to shut down the demands of Occupy Wall Street is because they were corporate backed with no concrete list of demands. And I don't want to be thought of as one of the Democratic left, corporate left, Aaron Sorkin people who shit on Occupy Wall Street like this. No, I'm trying to improve what we started with Occupy Wall Street, and for our next global civil disobedience protest, we need to correct the problems that went wrong with Occupy Wall Street that led to its dissipation and its failure. So we talk about this manifesto, this one, a people's summit, I forgot what the group who wrote the Declaration of Independence. Did it even have a name? Their little summit to make the Declaration of Independence? I don't know. I'm ignorant. Put that in the comments. But we need to form our own people's summit. It can be done all online, all through live stream, or we can get together, which is also great. We need. It's not just retweeting articles from TruthDig. It's actual political action. I love TruthDig, but it's more than just liking things on Facebook, right? So we need to organize this summit, form an organization, and form the list of demands. And then we need to practice civil disobedience and have real ways of revolutionarily combating the corporate fascist state, which is the next part, the next part of a revolution, right? We have, we talked about the first part, which is actually having an organization that can combat the corporate elitists who control the entire military. You can't just poof stop a global military-industrial complex that controls all of the resources with love and hugs. No, you need actual a citizenry militia movement to counter these things, or we're gonna get annihilated. They'll kill us. they know good and well that the next parts of human history, the next parts of the history of the United States are exposing the United States themselves, the government exposing the U.S. government for what it actually is, which is a totalitarian fascist state that wants to annihilate all dissent. And the violence is coming to the United States very soon, committed against their own citizens. It's coming very soon, which is the reason why a people's militia is not just important for a revolution. It's important to know that even without a revolution, they're coming for us. They're going to wipe us out. They're going to get rid of the dissidents. So, all right, so the different parts of revolution. We have the people's militia. Then we have the massive global civil disobedience. And then we have the People's Summit. And then we have the People's Manifesto. But now we go into, my Leninist friends will talk about this better than I can. I know I'll sound like Big Brother talking about a propaganda machine, but me being a Marxist and holding with many Leninist values as what Lenin proposed. If you're going to have a people's movement to establish a democratic republic, which then establishes communism, you need a propaganda machine that can counter the massive, ungodly, unforeseen in the history of the entire fucking world of the corporate media. We're not gonna, we won't counter the global corporate media propaganda machine by all of us just liking articles from The Intercept and a few of us hearting them on Facebook. That is not a realistic idea of a revolution and a people's movement. It's not. It is not at all. For now, we still have the internet. Before they take that away from us, and before they take fucking electricity away from us, we need to form an online, global propaganda outlet for our people's movement. And when I talk about a propaganda outlet, I'm talking about if there are people in our propaganda outlet who want to say that Liz Warren is pretty nice, she thinks, or Liz Warren is nice, this person thinks, or whatever, he thinks, she thinks, then that person needs to be silenced. And that's what Lenin said, and that's what I'm saying right now. If someone wants to come into our people's movement, and from within our people's movement and our propaganda outlet, someone wants to say how, ooh, the Clintons actually, Bill Clinton, reduced the deficit, so maybe we should think about that. That person needs to be silenced immediately with their corporate establishment bullshit, fake free speech. Free speech is not lying, which is what the corporate establishment does. They lie. Free speech, giving a platform to Richard Spencer, the Nazi, giving a free media to Donald Trump is not free speech. It is fascism. Because these are ideas that are based on lies. These are ideas that are based on non-factual things. This is not free speech. I'll tell you the definition of free speech. It's punching Richard Spencer in the fucking face. That's what free speech is. Not Richard Spencer, who is just as big as an identity politic little whiny bitch, little cunt fuck, than, your worst Clinton supporter. These identity politics Nazi snowflakes of Richard Spencer, Richard Spencer being able to say things like, how should there be mosques in Quebec City? This is not free speech. That is nonsense and chaos and hate speech, and it leads to violence. It is not free speech. Free speech are the facts. Free speech is basing your political opinion on fucking evidence. Not on, made up bullshit about bloodlines and genetics and Nazism and lies. This is the anti-free speech. Richard Spencer not having his neck broken is anti-free speech, to be quite honest with you. But, that's the next part of a revolution. It is having the voice. It is having a realistic voice that can actually counter the corporate fascists. Our propaganda outlet. And here we go. Another big controversial point. Woo! This next one's gonna really get some of the reactionaries listening to this. The next part of a successful revolution is the control of the educational system. Oh my God, I am such a Nazi for saying that. I am such a dangerous person for saying that we need to have control of we need to take the education system in the hands of the corporate elitists. And Betsy DeVos, who was voted for, not by so many Democrats who voted, all of Trump's appointees were voted for, but, people will call me a radical for saying that we need to take the education system out of the hands of the corporate left and right elitists, especially the left. Oh, good God. These Democratic, these people who control the the colleges and the universities. Good God. Our colleges and universities have been completely co-opted by the corporate Democrats. Good God. This is the rise of this identity politics, economic fascism bullshit from these corporate Democrats. And now we have corporate Republican Betsy DeVos in charge of the entire United States education system. Yippee fucking do. And I'm a radical for saying that we need to get the education system in the hands of the independent people's movement, who base their decisions on what is best for people's education based on facts, and based on the facts of how the rest of the world, like Norway and Denmark and Sweden and Germany and Canada and the UK, have figured out better systems for educating people, which is public education, which is free, universal public education in all forms of education. This is the next part of revolution. And I know I'll be called a cuckoo bird for saying this, when in reality the corporate elitist movement completely controls the education system now, and we're completely fucked up now. Okay? So, and these are just, of course, and then we go on to our, there's so, saying that there's, just 5 or 6 parts of what it means to truly have a revolution. We go into all facets of our government and all facets of the world government and world society. We need revolutions in all of these things because they're all corrupted and they're all in serving the corporate elitists. What's another way we need to create a revolution? So many are coming to my head. We've already talked about the economy, and that's what the strikes and boycotts and the economic manifesto is all about. Talk about a police force. We need to take back our police force that has been completely co-opted by white supremacists on every level. We're talking about just reported in all over, just reported that white nationalists and Nazis have been recruited, and low IQ fascist Nazis have been recruited into our police force forever. This is fucking how it works. This is how it has always worked. The police force has been looking for low IQ, hateful Nazis to, perpetuate bullshit. Right. So, we having a people's police force and a people's vanguard and taking back our police force. That's another huge part of the revolution. But, we could go on, and that's what the manifesto and the People's Summit of discussion and debate is all about. How our world government is going to operate for all of us, and how we're going to achieve it in the most, not quickest way possible, but in the most guaranteed course for success. So, we can go on and on about different revolution, but we need our manifesto, we need our unity, and we need our massive civil disobedience. But just to conclude with going back to Young Turks and Bernie Sanders and Cenk Uygur and Liz Warren and the fake ass resistance, let's go back to this. Everything I just talked about, everything I've just been talking about for the last hour, I don't hear anyone in the Young Turks or the corporate Democrat media or the Bernie crowd. Oh, I love Bernie Sanders. I don't hear any of these people talking about any of this. I hear Elizabeth Warren, who's now in like the 5th day of trying to finish reading this fucking letter that the person who, the Alveda King, MLK and Coretta King's niece, is saying that you don't know anything about MLK. And Elizabeth Warren, you're a race baiter. Called her a race baiter, which she fucking is. And I don't want to call her a race baiter. I want to call her a racist. Because race baiter seems too fucking nice for Elizabeth Warren and her bullshit. And her fucking pantsuits and her fucking bob haircuts. Fucking bullshit. And of course, the Cenk Uygur treats people like Debbie Lusignan like they can't even hear them. Like when, people like Debbie Lusignan call for these revolutionary ideas, these corporate establishment hacks like the Young Turks, and I'm not shitting on like Jimmy Dore or, Steve-O or Jordan Chariton. They do pretty good work. But the Young Turks as a whole is a cesspool of nonsense. But, I don't hear, I hear, the only thing I hear from the Young Turks by way of a political revolution, quote unquote, is wait till 2018, when we can get even if it was possible, getting the Democrats back, or electing non-corporate candidates who are funded by corporate medium. I don't even know how the fuck what they're talking about. The Justice Democrats half the fucking time. What is their plan to get these people in who will be just as corporate? Imagine if Cenk Uygur was in the Senate. What do you think Cenk Uygur would be doing in this? If we got 20 Bernie Sanders in the Senate, what do you think would be happening? Maybe a little bit more talk about, universal Medicare and no talk about revolutionary values. So, the Bernie Sanders and Cenk Uygur and Liz Warren are doing nothing but sheepdogging and gaslighting and bullshitting you into thinking that if you worship Bernie Sanders and if you worship Elizabeth Warren and the corporate Democrats, revolution will just come from that, like a flower, like a blossoming flower. Revolution will just manifest itself out of thin air in 2 to 4 years of your life. By the way, this is your life that you are saying, 2 years, okay, bye 2 years of my life of living in a corporate elitist state. Bye. See you in 2 years. So many of us will be dead by then in 2 to 4 years. Probably all of us in a fucking Trump presidency. They're gonna kill us all as quickly as they possibly can, because they know our real revolutionary movement is nigh. We're about to go out in the streets and shut it down and destroy the corporate elitist state. But, we need to organize, we need to form this summit, and we need to stop, we need our own media outlet so we can stop the Young Turks and the corporate bullshit Democrats. We need to, or they're just going to keep sheepdogging us, and we're going to spend the next 2 to 4 years of our lives and the rest of our lives living in this tyranny, which cannot continue to fucking happen. So, in conclusion, the Justice Democrats and the corporate lovey-dovey Democratic online media like the Young Turks and the Ring of Fire and David Pakman and all this bullshit, it needs to be stopped, and we need to stop it through a people's movement and a revolution. So Bernie Sanders and the Young Turks wouldn't know a revolution if it bit them in the ass, and we are the ones with the real ideas. So we're the ones who need to organize and move forward without these corporate lackeys. Okay? So thank you very much for listening. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow, retweet, whatever. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on social, I'm on YouTube. Help me out, comment, tell me what you want me to do next. But most importantly, talk to people and organize these movements. And we need to create this independent people's community and people's media. But thank you very much for listening. My name is Sandy Frank, and I will see you in the next one.